Is Misha Vivienne Sayers ní Calacoin, is as Kunte Kirky me. Táim an seo inua áireach le 3 bliain anuas agus is iad na bliantas fear atá a bhí agam riamh. Cuas ar skull, sorry, I was just thinking. I actually find it easier to speak with people in Irish, but it's so much more poetic in Irish that I have to stick to the way that it's meant to be. So it takes me a minute to think of. But cuas ar skull I dangani cúis chunta cúirí agus sinné an fágil gael in a gum. Cuas ar skull sa gaeltacht. So what I said very quickly there is my name is Vivienne Sayers O'Callaghan. I hail from County Cork, the real capital of... Sorry to any dubs here. The reason I have Irish and the reason I can speak the Irish language is because in the Republic of Ireland, learning the Irish language is mandatory throughout primary school and throughout secondary school. If you're up the north, it's a different case. It's actually an optional subject to study. And we're seeing an increasing amount of people wanting to study our language. There's an increasing amount of want for identity and community and to find out who we are on the inside. And thankfully, thanks to this, the Irish language and community is ever growing and getting stronger and stronger. So today I am going to do a poem in the Irish language, Oscailin, and it's a very, very short poem. Not nearly as impressive as what we heard today so far. But there's a lovely proverb in the Irish language which says, Bíonn blas ar an mbeagán, which means good things come in small packages, and I like to think that about myself. And it essentially counters bigger is better. Now this poem in particular, again, it's very, very short, and that's why I did my introduction in Irish as well. I wanted you to hear a little bit more of the language than what you'll hear now. And the poem speaks about, worshipping and appreciating the smaller moments in life. The moments that we have right now that we don't appreciate that much, that will soon or may be gone someday. And I'll say the poem and translate it into English for you afterwards, so you know exactly what I'm saying. The poem's by Seamus O'Neill, who's from County Down, which is up the north. Suv Milish, forgot to say what it meant. Miss Unique mentioned that it's about jelly. In Ireland we'd call that jam. And, it's true, it's about jam, but it's about so much more than jam as well. So Suv Milish le Seamus O'Neill. Bhí Suv Milish vascran an doras, ach Bhuac me an choirí anam a daireach, mar smuoinnig me an lá, a bheits an vascran glán agus an lámh beag iarraig. And the English translation of that is, oh sweet jam, and doesn't have much to do with jam, as I said, but it begins with, there was jam on the door handle, but I suppressed the anger that arose in me. After touching it, I'd be a little angry too, honestly. Because I thought of the day that the door handle would in fact be clean and the small hand would be gone. So if you think about it, it's maybe more relatable to those with families, small families, little toddlers running around, where you'll walk into a room and there'll be something sticky on the wall or on the door handle, and it would drive me insane, honestly. I'm only 24, so I haven't gotten to that point yet. But I know someday that I would grow up and I would remember this poem that actually we were forced to learn in school. I remember standing up in class just like this and my Irish language teacher saying, right, Vivienne is the Irish language for Vivienne, and she'd say, right, recite Suv Milish there, and I'd be shaking like I am now, and I'd have to recite it to the rest of the class, and everyone was half asleep. But it's nice that I still think about it today, and I loved it so much that I shared it on TikTok. I don't think it did massively well on TikTok. It has like 40,000 views, but it's great. That's a small figure, especially John down at the end of the table as well knows that that's a small figure on TikTok and Instagram, but it travels to the right people, thankfully. And the poem makes me it reminds me that moving forward, if something small frustrates you on a day, just remember the day that something small mightn't happen anymore, and it reminds you that just to value the things that you have. So, Gurv Mila Mahagud, which means thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much for the invite, Miss Sadiq.